parents dropped me off in the city. And then a couple of weeks later, they said, so what are you thinking of living in the city? So I said, well, it's horribly gray and there's concrete everywhere, and I can't get used to the fact that buildings hit the street. Then there's 9 or 10 feet of ugly sidewalk and there are no plantings. There's nothing green here. I was there for 2.5 years. During that time, I became the chairman of Midtown Community Board number 5, which had to do with zoning. Bryant Park, it's at 42nd Street and 5th to 6th Avenue, so it's exactly at the heart of Midtown. It's the only green space there. So we had muggers, and every entrance to the park had a different drug market run by a different person. I was chosen by the Rockefellers to fix this mess. It was very difficult to take the space back from the criminals and the drug sellers. I got mugged here myself in my second month of work, and it felt dangerous. Nobody knew why I took the job. Parks, if they have graffiti and they smell like urine and they have feces all over and you see broken lights and broken fences and overgrown hedges, people quickly get the idea they can do whatever they want there who are lawbreakers.
What you feel is that your public spaces aren't really yours, that you know where to walk and where not to walk, who to look at, not to look at. And the going rule in the 1980s was you did not walk into Bryant Park in broad daylight unless, you were trying to score some drugs. And that was just the rule, that was not part of your New York City. And there were whole sections of the city that felt like that, including, in Midtown Manhattan. So Bryant Park was privatized, which led to a radical redesign of what transpired in the park and gave citizens a sense that they were safe and that this park was now theirs.
By putting activity in the park, sweeping up the litter, removing the graffiti, repairing a few things we had the money to repair, we ended up with a crime rate that went down in the 80s, even before the great crime rate reductions that we were part of later. The area near Grand Central is terrible. There were 600 homeless people unserved in and outside the terminal. Litter that was ankle deep by the end of the day, graffiti everywhere, dark streets. Koch people gave me the okay to set up on a much larger basis than had existed before, a business improvement district. Covered 50 blocks or so.
The Business Improvement District is a specially chartered organization by the city which allows the businesses in that community to tax themselves and then have total discretion over the way those funds are used.
Allowed us to privately provide all the things the city wasn't doing. Litter pickup all day long so the streets were clean, removing the graffiti right away. I did that one first, and then the 34th Street owners got envious, and some of them were the same people, and they said, you ought to come down and clean up our mess. And the mess there was near Penn Station, where tourists and shoppers went, near Macy's Empire State Building, and very much the same techniques as with Bryant Park and Grand Central. It needed an alternative idea, and the success of it is shown by the fact that 34th Street and others have been modeled after by now we've got 76 of them in New York City.